Cosby's, and then if you got inside the house, it was a whole lot like The Sopranos. It was just a really unique life.
Yeah, a unique life. That's a life that Courtney Brown Jr. describes in his new memoir, The Rise and Fall of an Urban Empire. In it, he describes growing up as the son of a heroin drug kingpin. Brown says that back in the 1970s, his father was taking in more than $1 million a month in heroin sales. And this morning, Courtney Brown Jr. joins us to share more of his story. It's so nice to meet you. Thanks for being here.
Pleasure meeting you, Sherry.
Tell me how you describe your family, because it's like the Cosby family meets
the Sopranos.
Yeah, I love that. I love that description.
Well, it's true. My dad was a Little League baseball coach, and he's living next door to actually the mastermind of this whole operation, a guy named Eddie Jackson, who's an absolute Detroit legend, who started it. My father and Eddie were lifelong friends. But anyway, I mean, my mom is a Girl Scout head, and Dad was a Little League baseball coach and Little League basketball coach on his way to deliver kilos. So
he was sort of a businessman.
Very much so, but it was a very stable nuclear family we grew up in. You know, and I just thought it was natural that people's dads came home with duffel bags full of money.
And you said that's how you spent your time with your dad. The bonding period was finding the loot in the bags.
Correct, very much so.
And your next door neighbor had a similar lifestyle.
Right, well, Eddie Jackson was living in this fabulous house, you know, Olympic-sized swimming pool, jacuzzis, and I mean, you know, he's an absolute legend, Mr. Jackson. And Motown stars and just the opulence of his lifestyle, but we thought it was normal for celebrities to come by.
What kind of celebrities? Who did you get to meet?
Well, all the Temptations. Smokey Robinson lived down the street from us, and I guess the most interesting story, which you go over in the book, is actually an associate of my father's brought Muhammad Ali by our house at night, and my dad was sleepy and thought the guy was pulling a prank, and so I'm on the intercom system, and I'm like, Dad, Muhammad Ali's at the door, and my father's like, no, he's not, tell his friend to go away, and then we send him away, and the next day the guy shows up with these pictures of Muhammad Ali, and wow, so we sent away the champ, the greatest.
So you had quite a lifestyle. I mean, you went to good schools, and you lived a nice lifestyle, obviously. What did the other kids think? I mean, did they know? They knew who your dad was, right?
Well, by '73, when it hit the papers, the secret was kind of out. My teachers, you used to have show and tell in the Southfield schools there, so you know, when every week this kid is, well, what'd you do this week, Mr. Brown? We went to the Bahamas. What'd you do this week, Mr. Brown? We went to Hawaii. What'd you do this week? Oh, we went on a cruise to South America. So the secret was kind of out. And between Mr. Jackson's Rolls Royce with crowd pleaser written in the, you know, on it in the driveway, and our parking lot full of Cadillacs and Lincolns, the neighbors kind of suspected.
Well, were kids afraid to come over? Did they think that, you know, or were they excited to come over?
Just opposite. Both of our houses were actually like recreation areas for the kids in the neighborhood.
Made you very popular.
We had all the toys, the best of everything, so it was cool.
Now, your dad did end up in jail.
Yes, he did.
But it didn't exactly stop his business dealings, right?
Well, no. I mean, he did his time, and thank God some of the foundation he set up education-wise for my sister and myself and the rest of the family allowed us to legitimize and really, you know, take the family in a different direction in some time. But we'll talk more about that in part 2 of the book.
And you've had a great life. You went on to college, and you're a successful businessman and writer yourself.
Yes, and involved with Parliament Studios here in the Troy-Madison Heights area, and my company and Parliament Studios, we're going to take this, turn it into a full-length motion picture. Oh. And yeah, I've traveled the world, and God's been great to me, and it was just time to really tell a great untold Detroit story, because it kind of covers Detroit at its zenith.
Very interesting story. Thank you so much for telling us about it. So nice to meet you.
Pleasure meeting you.
It's a fascinating book, and you can meet Courtney Brown Jr. at his book release party tonight. He'll be at the Casa de Habana Cigar Lounge in Detroit at 7 o'clock.